This is ABC Radio Melbourne with Ali Moore.
We can work it out. We can work it out.
Well, earlier in the program, we spoke to Jane Ann Power. I don't know whether you heard that conversation, but Jane was made redundant at the age of 50, and she told us a little about their response and the process that she went through. She said it was quite a shock, but ultimately a good thing.
It was such a difficult ending. I think if it had have been an easy ending and I've had a nice farewell dinner where I felt appreciated, I might have just gone, you know what, that wasn't so bad. I might just go get another job. But the effect of it gave me such a jolt that it made me realise that I wanted to take control of the rest of my career, and I decided to go full time into my business.
Today on Work It Out, we are looking at how you come back from being made redundant. Not everyone's got the resources to start their own business, but how do you pick yourself up? How do you go forward and showcase your skills? If you've been in the position, if you've got tips for others or you've got a question, give me a call, 1300 222 774. John Georgiowski is Director and Careers Expert. He is also a consultant at Alpha Resumes. John, welcome back.
Hi, Ali. Great to be back today.
How do you reframe after the shock of being made redundant?
Really good question. I think it can be a really different situation for different people, and for some people it is shock. For others it's anger or grief or all these emotions that are going on. But reframing and telling us in our mind that we can turn this into a new opportunity is such a powerful thing for people out there, and often that involves having to talk it through with somebody else or perhaps seek some professional help in order to take that path forward as well.
To help you see where there might be a silver lining, so to speak.
Absolutely. Sometimes we hear the term blessing in disguise talked about with redundancies, and that's great when that happens. And Jane Ann's story was wonderful to hear her being able to create a successful business.
But she was lucky because she already sort of had that in the wings, and not everyone does.
Absolutely, and that is one of those scenarios where she'd been workshopping something for quite some time and had a lot of expertise, but for a lot of people it can feel like everything's over, and it's very easy in our minds to turn that into a catastrophe or self-sabotage if we're not really clear with putting together a bit of a strategy or an action plan and then actually doing things and getting our own mind frame right.
You're listening to John Georgiowski, and we are talking about how you reframe, how you bounce back, come back after being made redundant at 11 minutes to 6 on 774 ABC Radio Melbourne. If you've got a question or an experience, give us a call, 1300 222 774. I do just need to bring you some breaking news. That 17-year-old allegedly involved in a fatal crash in Burwood last week is missing. He's in breach of his bail conditions, according to Victoria Police, and they've confirmed that they are looking for the teenager and that his current whereabouts are unknown. So stay tuned to ABC Radio News for more about that. Davo's joined us from Greensborough. Hi, Davo.
Hi, how you going?
Good. What was your experience?
This is probably a bad news, good news story too, I think. When I turned 50 20 years ago, and my boss, we were both working for a major IT company, and he got retrenched about 3 days before I did, and I had my 50th birthday party at my house on the Saturday, and had a whole lot of and I was manager at this company. A lot of other managers came around for my birthday party. And I went around the room joking with everybody, all the company ones, joking that, now I'm 50, I'll get retrenched.
Famous last words, I fear.
Oh, yeah. Monday morning came around and I got a phone call from my boss, who was a very, very new manager. And she said that she wanted to have a meeting with me on Thursday, the following Thursday. And I said, oh, yeah, what about? She said, you'll find out when we have the meeting. We'll talk about that later. And so I could feel the bells ringing then. So we had the meeting on Thursday, and she was in the room, but then the second level manager was in the room, and who broke the news that I was being retrenched. And I remember it to this day because it made me so angry. He said, Davo, this is just business. It's not personal. And I'd worked for this company for 26 years. It was personal. It was very, very personal. So, it took all my strength not to get across the table and strangle him, really.
And Davo, what did you do next?
Well, the interesting thing is this company then provided us with a company we could go to that helped you put resumes together and how to look for jobs. Because having worked my whole entire life, adult life in this company, I didn't know how to do that stuff. So they teach you how to do that. One of the things, and so did my manager who got retrenched as well. We were both in there. And the big thing that we got told was, you most likely will not find a job from job advertisements. You'll probably most likely find a job from people you know. And we both said in unison, well, that's a load of rubbish. We don't know anyone in this company because we've been there for so long. But as it turned out, it's exactly what happened. And this manager who got retrenched, my manager who got retrenched, he went into a role as in a recruitment agency where he got a job. And his first job was to place someone in a transport company. And he immediately, and the skills required were a match for me. He immediately thought of me, rang me up and said, "Are you interested in this job?" And I was in two or three in the interview process straight away out of 2 or 3 people.
Great. Well, it's always great to hear when we have those really great outcomes. And what I'm hearing there is networking 20 years ago might not be all that different to what it is today. Yep. And you've touched on an important point. Whilst having a good resume and having yourself prepared and thinking I know all my skills is important, it's estimated around 80% of jobs still come through networking and this hidden job market out there.
So what Davo was told, don't look at the ads, look at who you know.
And of course, ads are still important. There are positions out there, but when we think about the broader landscape, that's a small portion of all the jobs that are actually available. And sometimes networks are people that you've worked with, but when we're looking at older candidates, they've probably met a lot of people throughout their life, business, personally. Reach out to them, ask what you can do for them, have a chat about their industry, and that can often open up doors in ways we don't necessarily expect.
Davo, thank you for sharing your experience. Karis is in Mitcham. Hi, Karis.
Hi. I really just wanted to talk on behalf of my mum, who was made redundant at the age of 62 after working for an aid agency for 18 years. And it was extremely traumatic, and similar to other callers, with her age, she was wondering what does she do after that. But she decided that she did not want to be a victim, and she ended up starting a business called Horizons of Hope, and she started to import handcrafts from developing countries such as India that were made by women overseas. And so by her doing that and having this business, it then gave income and validation to women overseas. And so that was extremely meaningful work, which came out of a really devastating season.
And how fantastic when something like that can happen and somebody's able to reframe that situation that they're in as a new opportunity from that initial perhaps grief or anger or fear very often for people to be able to go and start something fantastic. Often though, we're not able to do that right away, and we do need to put together a bit of a strategy or a plan or talk things through, especially when it comes to stuff like business. But the idea of a redundancy and sometimes having that little package that supports us in the interim, it can be a really good idea, brainstorming period and some breathing space. Yeah.
Karis, it sounds like your mum is doing very well. Gary's in Hawthorne. Hi, Gary.
G'day, guys. It's interesting to listen to your conversation. My war story is this. I've been made redundant 3 times in 8.5 years. The first time I was unemployed for 13 months and vowed I would never face that again. So I decided I needed a new career, chose it, needed to do more study, did the study, made redundant twice more. The third time I was unemployed for 10 months, but I started looking for a job in that new area. And after about 60 interviews, 60 applications, about 30 interviews, I was offered a job as a 62-year-old in a graduate role in a new career, and I'm just eternally grateful to be given a chance. And I've just written off my last career because I just didn't fit the demographics, and nobody said anything, but it was pretty obvious. So, I've been able to put off retirement, and really grateful for what is a 4th career coming up.
I love that. That actually raises another really interesting question, John, the importance of retraining. The ability to retrain never think that it's not worth retraining.
Absolutely. I think it's so important for clients to have this idea of a growth mindset as opposed to a fixed mindset. And this concept is really about thinking, well, I can learn some new skills, or I can embrace some new technology, and being open to what's actually out there. And that doesn't have to necessarily mean taking years off or completely retraining. It can be picking up small skills. It can be perhaps learning from some peers, exploring new technologies, but knowing that, hey, I can actually do this. And once that mindset starts to change and we can reframe our thinking, really positive things start to happen in the job search.
I guess it really is about how it affects you, because I've got a text here from Robin saying, too late for me. I was made redundant with thousands of others by Jeff Kennett. I was told after 10 years to leave that day. The impact has been lifelong, and I've never worked again since, full time. But then this one, both myself and my husband have been made redundant. Best thing that happened, very lucrative. We paid off our house, travelled and went back to university in our early 40s. So they're very different experiences. You're listening to John Georgiosky, and we're talking on our Work It Out segment about how you bounce back from being made redundant. Didiman's in Glen Waverley. Hi, Didiman.
Hi, good evening. Very interesting topic. Actually, I was made redundant at the age of 45, and when it happened, I had mixed feelings. First feeling was that when I was in job, I thought I'm indispensable. So here, there we go. So that was a very humbling experience for me, that nobody in the company, nobody where you work is indispensable. That was a very sort of a stark reality which dawned upon me. Secondly, it gave me time to sort of think about what a job means. And I think for any young graduates, young people starting in their job, I would say that please, every month, if not every year, think about why you are employed. Why is your employer interested in you? So, in other words, keep upskilling.
Yeah.
That's must. Yeah.
Do you agree, John, that that's a good question to ask yourself on a regular basis? Why am I here?
It definitely is. And for some people, we've heard stories where, redundancy was great. I got to open and explore a new opportunity. I got to travel. I got to do these great things. For others, there is a lot of grief and anger and relief. But as individuals, we do have the power to control our career, and we don't necessarily have to wait until we are made redundant or until we see some exhaustive changes. If we're in a job we don't like, or where there's some opportunities, perhaps we do some retraining. Or maybe we're in a job where we do like it and we're good at it, but we're starting to see disruption in the industry, and we go, what can I do to learn some more skills or to take on some more responsibilities or future-proof myself, and have that toolkit ready, have your confidence ready, and be able to explore opportunities if you need to.
Yeah, and also just thinking about all the people who have managed to make the transition. I've got a text from Antoine who says, I was made redundant from Ansett in 2001. I took a role in a law firm, swearing never to go back to private practice, but here I am 24 years later, a partner in that firm. That is a success story. Thank you very much, John, for being part of Work It Out again.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me back, Ali.